I hate this life. I hate work. I went to psychologist, but don't tell anyone. I started to hate my business. It was okay for the choreographers to shout at us. Sometimes they could even hit us. It's okay for a dancer to have an eating disorder. But the shoulder, the neck, they get so stiff. My levels of anxiety, they're just paralyzing. I don't know. I'm like a very old browser. You're just a demon. Are you hungry? It's not just, I'm worried. You're not worried. You're swirling and swirling into the, I don't know.
Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I have an amazing guest, Ksenia. She's the founder of Ksenia Space. It's a platform for the psychotherapy. And today is the conversation when we're going to talk about the ethic, about limits of the psychotherapy, and about the personal path of the founder. Please welcome Ksenia.
Hey, hi all. I'm pleased to be here. Thank you for inviting me. So let's deep inside the world of psychotherapy and its ethical questions in the modern world with all the technologies and innovations that we have on our plate right now.
Yeah. So big thing. How did you come to this point? What led you to desire to merge psychotherapy and technology, and why you decided to be the founder?
Thank you for the question. Actually, it's quite a long story. Coming back to the period when I was a teenager, I had an eating disorder. I used to be a dancer, and it's okay for a dancer to have an eating disorder because you always have to be slimmer, have to be, I don't know, taller. You have all those problems with the body image because your body is always not enough because your body it's not you anymore, and sometimes it feels that it doesn't belong to you anymore because it's just a part of the stage, a part of the show, part of the choreographer's plans for you. And it was okay for the choreographers, for the teachers to shout at us a lot, to make us do more than we could, for example, in extensions. Sometimes they could even hit us, which is normalized in dancing and, for example, in rhythmic gymnastics and figure skating for the girls.
Wow.
So it's okay. It used to be okay. And let's say it's believed that there is no results you can achieve without this kind of very strict discipline. You should be disciplined and stuff like that. So from the early childhood, you know that you cannot say no.
To protect your own border, yeah.
Yes, you can't protect your borders, you can't protect your body just because if you start to protest or protect yourself, it's like, okay, you will not get the result. But at the end, yes, I really got the results. I was the champion. But also on the other side of the medal, I had the eating disorder. And now it's also part of the journey to become a founder because I became an athlete that knows how to achieve goals, that knows how to train hard, to really go beyond what is in your opportunities, in your possibilities, in your power. And sometimes it really helps with a startup. I don't know the other way of coaching to make people really achieve and achieve not just something ordinary, something average.
How do you treat your team?
I'm not a dictator, and my team knows a lot of parts, a lot of roles in me as a leader, because I really do ask for very, very high quality, sometimes even perfectionism, because I mean, we work with people, we do a service, and we need to do as perfect as it could be for now. Not like in the universe, but for now and for us. It should be done in a really good way and with high quality. So my team knows that it's going to be discipline, it's going to be deadlines, which is not really okay to ignore. Like, I mean, you cannot ignore the deadline. Yes, of course, sometimes we postpone, sometimes something happens, and we adapt. But deadlines, high quality is a must. But at the same time, my team knows that if something happens to them personally, we are going to have a one-on-one to discover how I can help. Maybe I have some people in the network that could help. Maybe a person needs some days off, something to just, I don't know, cheer him up, anything. So that part is also covered. Well, as my team says, that they loved to be under my leadership. I had a developer who once told me that he doesn't feel me or he doesn't perceive me like a boss, but more as a leader. And for him, it meant something. So I guess a boss is just giving orders around and doesn't care. And I think the leader, it's someone who orders, who knows where you're leading, where you're going, but at the same time, he cares, or she.
So you shared your story, how you as a boss now, and before you told about your childhood and being a professional athlete and having some eating disorder, and how that all put you in a one moment that you decided that psychological support is your true calling. Was there some moment? How did you decide to do this project, and what was that moment? How this path lead you to that very beginning point?
I had actually my background is in international relations and international management. In my first job, I started my thesis and I was like, okay, what if I just assume it was 2019 and no one was, the artificial intelligence wasn't on the hype. So it all started with the what if. I have the opportunity to do a lot of counseling. I have the opportunity to do the research. And also I have the field, which really excites me. I'm super interested. I'm eager to learn more in the field of also artificial intelligence. So I decided that why don't I merge two things that I'm truly keen on. This is how it started. It's just it wasn't the business side of myself. It was like, oh, it would be rational. I'm a trend watcher. No, it was just like it was a creative part of me. Like I like this and this. Why not?
How often do you implement creative approach in your day-to-day founders work?
A lot. I think for me, it's 70% of my day-to-day work because when I neglect my creative self, I start sabotage everything. I don't make money with my project. All my clients are just disappearing when all on the operational and business part is in the leadership. My creative part has more resources, all of this, and it's more, I don't know, attractive. Let's say it's more attractive for the people around me.
If you've been watched by the founders who is in the same shoes as you are, how it looks like when you're not in the creative mode, but in the rational mode, how you can understand that you're stuck somewhere in the wrong mode.
So you mean that I didn't switch at the right time? I get extremely anxious. Like my anxiety levels are so extreme, they are so high that I'm almost paralyzed. Because anxiety is good. It makes us really do things. It's the anxiety. It's a very important part of the evolution.
Cortisol shower makes us move.
No, just anxiety. Without anxiety, we wouldn't survive. If it's not extreme levels, if it's tolerable, it's good. It makes us act. So my levels of anxiety, they're just paralyzing. I don't know. I'm like a very old browser that is with 1,000 tabs, and they are all doing something, but at the same time they are not doing anything because it's just not enough resources to download everything.
So how you deal with that and how you get out of the state? What is your advice for other founders who've been paralyzed?
First of all, of course, for me, it's to get acquainted very well with your anxiety. Of course, we say it's in a general way, I'm just anxious, I feel anxious. But usually, anxiety is more than just I feel paralyzed or something. Okay, I feel anxious, then there is deeper level, I feel something else. Maybe I feel unloved at this point of time. Maybe I feel that I'm not enough for doing what I'm doing. Maybe I feel that I'm an imposter in this innovative business world. Like I'm just a baby, in this perfect and favorite meme on the internet. I'm just a baby.
Coco, when mommy says stop, you say okay.
I'm just a baby.
But you still have to say okay, mom.
I'm just a baby.
And sometimes the anxiety is just the way to signal to you that something's wrong. So first of all, I got acquainted with my anxiety, and now I know not even red flags, but when the green gets a little yellow, just a little bit of yellow, and okay, something is going not like it should be, something not comfortable for me, something maybe it's too much on my plate right now. Also, and I feel okay, I feel loved, I'm still in my adult mode, but maybe it's just too much on my plate. Of course, first it was only green flag and red flag, a very red flag, like I'm dying almost. And now I have between red and green all kind of shadows, yellow like this, maybe a little bit pink, maybe white. So they are all different, and I can deal with all kinds of all those flags because I know what all of these flags mean, and it takes a lot of time because it's not just okay, today I sit, I have 1 hour and a half, and we just do the exercise. Okay, sometimes my anxiety is like this and like this and like no, it's it takes time. Sometimes it's 1 year, sometimes 2 years.
So basically, you share that psychotherapy is something like to train your neural network to be more on the spectrum side rather on just flipping from red to green zones, right?
Yeah, it's about the spectrum and not just the two opposite things, two extremes, like in that minimum or maximum. No.
For people who are watching us on YouTube, maybe you can share right at that moment where you're on the spectrum, how you analyze yourself, how you understand what feeling that deeper than anxiety triggers your anxiety, and how you deal with that basic feeling. Can you give us a masterclass how it works?
For me, the masterclass showed the medicine because when was my first time that I decided to really address the issue and not just, okay, whatever, I work, and even if I'm paralyzed, I have to do more and more and more. So you know the part of the coach from my childhood inside of me is like, no, you can do more. So I decided to go to the doctor, and she gave me the pills. So I mean the pharmaceutical help. It wasn't the antidepressants, it was just the anti-anxiety medicine. And it's not something that you take in the long term or for some kind of period. It's just to make you feel better at the exact moment. And the longitude of the active mode of this medicine is just 6 or 8 hours. So it makes you calmer for 6, 8 hours, and it helps you relax and helps you take care of yourself. And it helps you, you know, just not feel all of this spectrum of anxiety. At that point of time, I understood the two levels of my anxiety, because sometimes when I'm anxious, I can really do all of this meditation. I can do the consciousness parts. I can do the breathing techniques. I can do the writing techniques. I can do the cognitive behavioral therapy techniques. Everything, and everything would help. And sometimes my anxiety, it's not, you know, emotional. It's more something that is organic. It's already in my brain. It's already in the chemistry of my brain.
Yeah.
It never went away with the meditation. So those medicine, they really helped me to distinguish and to separate, okay, this is emotional and this is organic. When it's emotional, it helps to just have a little treat, to treat myself, I don't know, with a little break. I don't know, 1 minute, 2 minutes. Actually, you can't see it, but near my workplace, where I work every day with my laptop, I have the tennis ball, and I have a ball for playing with the dogs. And tennis ball, it's more, you know, hard, and the dog ball, it's like a hedgehog, let's say. So sometimes I have a break for 1 minute or 2 minutes to massage my feet, sometimes to massage this part of my body, but it's just for me. It's my own experience, my own connection to my body, and I know that when I get anxious, with the shoulder, the neck, they get so stiff, and I can't even think straight when they like this. So all the balls, I'm just rolling them down, up, whatever I need for, I don't know, 1 or 2 minutes. And sometimes it helps because the stiffness goes away and my brain is like, okay, now we can breathe. Now we can finally get all the oxygen, all the nutrients, and all the blood stream back to normality, and it's fine. Sometimes it helps to talk to people. Sometimes it's friends. Sometimes it's my boyfriend, sometimes it's my mom, sometimes it's my colleagues, sometimes it's other founders. It depends on the situation. It all comes to the connection to myself and to my needs, and it's part of the exploration. Every time you sit down, when you feel the basic anxiety, like, okay, what do I need right now? Some mint tea? Or maybe I need sleep? Or maybe I want to walk for 5 minutes around the block? Or actually, maybe I'm hungry. Because sometimes I'm anxious when I'm hungry, and the anxiety is the first level of my own feeling of hunger. Because the second level is I get very tired, and the last level is I get very, very angry. And sometimes my team also knew that, and they're like, Ksenia, did you eat before the call? Because today you're not being a good leader. You're just an evil. You're just a demon. Are you hungry? So sometimes even my team knew that something might be wrong because I'm hungry.
Everything you said corresponds with your emotional level of the anxiety, or it also works with the level that always on the surface? And if not, how you deal with that part? Yeah, you mentioned that you have emotional and organic part of your anxiety. And the things with a ball, with a food, with a walk, are they really helpful for organic part of anxiety, or you have different approach to it?
No, for organic part, it's always medicine, unfortunately. Or maybe fortunately, but I just need the, I don't know, one pill and that's it. It works for me because for me, organic and emotional now, after the medicine, I know the difference. And actually, it's physical difference. You can really feel it in your body when it's organic. It's not just oh, I'm worried. You're not worried. You're swirling and swirling into the, I don't know, the dark hole of this anxious I don't know, something. It's just everywhere, this anxiety.
Was that the moment that the first time you took medicine, you realized that something is just gone and you like different you without that part? You didn't even realize that this is something weird with you happens.
Exactly. This is what happened, because it was always me with this, the level of organic anxiety, which was always with me. And then you take the medicine and like, life can be different. Do you want to tell me that people don't feel like me all the time? Not all people feel
Right,
like that.
right, yeah. Yeah. Is it like an engine who is been turned on and then somebody turned off engine and you start to hear birds?
Kind of, yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And now we're closing to your platform. Tell me about how it works, how neural network can help people. Are really some neural network exercise can really treat at least emotional anxiety of the people or other states? How it works?
Actually, I don't believe that any GPT, any large language model can treat people, but actually people use it and it helps in the moment. Sometimes in the moment it really helps. Because I'm a psychologist myself, I'm a practitioner, so I really work with people one-on-one. We do the counseling session with people. I understand that large language model, it really lacks this creative part of the person and this emotional part, empathetic part. In my startup, in my platform, we don't have the large language models that are just doing the chatbot and okay, this is our artificial intelligence. No, we have developed our own neural network, but it's for the recommendation system, because for now, I think it's going to be for a long time in the future. It's important, like it's crucial to have the exercises and practices that are created by psychologists, by real people who talk to real people, who work with real people, and who are, let's say, in the field, who are on the spot, not the products create the platform, create the exercises, but the real psychologists that are practicing every day with different people. So all the exercises are created by psychologists, and our neural network, it's trained to do the personalized recommendation for people. It understands this user or that user will need, taking into account a very big story about them, a very big background. So the relationship with their father and mother, the relationship with their food, with their body, with their emotions, the stress level right now, what do they want? So this is how our recommendation system works. And for us, it was actually the killer feature. Everyone now train their own GPT.
Fine tuning, yeah, right?
Yeah, they are fine tuning, they are training the model, which is, let's say, they are playing in the sandbox of the ChatGPT or whatever, or maybe Claude sometimes, anything. But for us, it wasn't the way. But actually, in terms of business, it was the wrong move, because I could have started making money and monetizing my platform, I don't know, 2 years ago. And instead of that, we chose the journey of the deep tech startup. We did a lot of scientific research. We did our own database. We created it. We were gathering the data, and it's a lot of time. It takes, I don't know, crazy amount of time, the database, because the neural network, it's like, I don't know, 5 lines of code sometimes. The network itself.
So you decided to put the more longer path, but deeper in the technology and into scientific research regarding psychology, right?
Yes.
Tell me about your company. Are you the solo founder or you have co-founders? What is your role? Have you raised some investments? And how many users you have? tell some business side of your company?
I am the founder and the CEO, but actually I played a lot of roles on the way because maybe on this just on the surface, but I know a lot of things about the neural network because I gathered myself the database, I parsed all the data, I prepared the data for the neural network. Then of course we had the ML engineer who did the training part, but I know why the code is like this, what means this method, why this method. So I understand all of this part. Also, I did a lot about the product because I mean I was the visionary in here, and I couldn't go to the colleagues who are psychologists and say, "Oh, you know, I do this. Can you be a co-founder, please, and be responsible for the product?" All my colleagues were like, "We don't really understand what you're doing. Tell us when it's ready, and we will join you." Our colleagues just preparing the exercises. I was part of the product also. And now my CEO responsibilities are more into business development, into marketing, because I'm the one who is, let's say, selling the platform right now. I am a solo founder just because I don't like to share, let's say, these responsibilities. I don't like the partnerships. It's more difficult for me because of my personal business self. Sometimes for people, it's really easy to do something with the partners, that you share the responsibilities, that you share the tasks. And I don't know, for me, it never works because I had this summer I had experience with another project where I was a co-founder with 15% share. After 4 months, I left just because for me it's super difficult. Just for me, it's hard. Maybe when I grow older, I will learn how to do things in partnerships, not in partnerships, because partnership, as I like, when Ksenia Space is a partner of another brand, another company, another startup, and we do collaboration, and this is a partnership. That's perfectly fine. But in terms of co-founding, I don't even understand how to build all the process of this co-founding. So I guess for me it would take more time, and it would make me more, anxious, more stressed, more worried. So I decided that alone is okay. Coming back to the business side, to the metrics, we are on the market since October 2023 with this version, let's say. I think we are coming close to 1,000 registrations, which is good for us. The maximum LTV now on the platform is 6 months, which is really good because we aim to 3 months and we have 6, which is amazing.
Is the maximum or average LTV on the platform?
For now, it's the maximum. Average, it's from 3 to 4.
It's really great result for the subscription-based product, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's in B2C. Yeah. And when we take B2B, we start from 3 months. But usually we start with the pilot, and then the corporations or companies, let's do this, and maybe we can do another project and we can do something else. So with B2B projects, we did, I think, in these 11 months, around 7 projects already. So it's a good start for a year for us.
Could you please share what is the most difficult part for you in B2C part of this business?
Sales. I'm still a psychologist, and here at the same time I'm an entrepreneur. So I need to sell more. It's just the stereotype that we need to sell aggressively. We need to do more marketing. Need to make people buy our product. We do business in psychotherapy, in psychology. We can't make people go to psychologist. It's absolutely unethical. This is not what we do. And sometimes the sales are the most difficult part because it's like a jewelry art. It's the high art of this thing. And usually we say that we don't sell, but people come and buy.
As I'm working more in the business side, I'm really keen to know, do you know what is the typical segment of your B2C business? What kind of customer, in which situation they decided that I need to use your product? And what is your top segment? Who is your best customer?
Of course, women. The best customer, they are 23 years till 35, this segment in terms of age. They are either working already and they are doing a lot of productivity stuff. They are using a lot of productivity tools. Something like Wix, Asana, Trello, all this stuff. And also another part in this segment, they're not working yet, but they are doing the master degrees. Not the bachelor, but the masters. Or they are changing the career path. So let's say they are, working as an accountant and learning how to be a designer. They are in the point where they are super stressed. Of course, they are overwhelmed. They don't have a lot of time, but still, they also don't have energy and time to do the psychotherapy with the or counseling sessions. They use our service, as I said in the beginning, like let's say little treatment, little break, because we have a lot of practices that are just 5 minutes long. And you do the little break, you do the practice, and you feel better.
I think you're very deep in this industry, and you speak a lot, I suppose, with the people of your age, or maybe my age and younger, because I'm not exactly in your target audience. Why do you think people who between 20 and 30 increasingly anxious, and they faced with so many disorders as eating, dating, TV series, and isn't looks only for me that young generation more sensitive and overwhelmed with this world? How do you perceive it?
We can say that they are more, let's say, fragile. Sometimes I think they are more fragile because they talk about that as well. They are more exposed to the information about if you feel anxious, it's not okay. Because I didn't know that it's not okay. Also about my eating disorders, for example, when I was a dancer, no one could do something about that because it was a part of the dancing journey. It was an instrument also to control my body, to make to achieve better results and stuff like that. And let's say Zoomers, if we say about this generation, I think they're slower. I mean, at some point, of course, they're addicted to TikTok and short videos, but at the same time, they feel better what they need, and they quit their jobs earlier. They quit the relationship. They can do it, but I don't know why. Just another generation. But at the same time, I know a lot of Zoomers who are addicted to their results and success. They are really, in this race. They can be 20, 21, and they are already overwhelmed. They can't do it anymore because they started working at 13 because it was possible. I mean, when I was 13, we didn't have Instagram or anything. We could work, I don't know, as promoters on the street or
3 hours a
working
day
for tax.
maximum.
They had all those social networks. They can do the social media marketing, all those jobs on the internet. And they started working at 13 or 14. And of course, at 20, they're like, I hate this life. I hate work. I don't want to do anything. Because, of course, they are different as a generation, but it doesn't mean that they didn't have the parents who were strict with them or who were alcohol addicted, really cruel with them or violent. Of course, we still have all those people in the Zoomers, and it's going to be again and again in the next generation. Now it's Generation Alpha who are under 14. The next generation after that, they will always get some kind of strange parents or maybe strict teachers. Maybe they will be in the sports or just something which is inside their brains, which is organic. Sometimes it's genetics and stuff like that. So I guess it's not only about the generation that they are different, but I think the times are different and the circumstances that they have to deal with, that they are lived inside.
Are you, as a certified psychologist, worried in circumstances that new generation are growing up about social media, about violence in the schools around, about addiction to the ideal bodies, short videos addiction, and things like that? Are you concerned about it, or you think like every new generation
has
is
their
okay?
own challenges?
Has some challenges, and old people just saying, "Oh, in our time was better."
No. I think it's. I'm not concerned or worried because now I'm rereading Anna Karenina by Tolstoy.
Me too. Actually, started just 2 weeks ago.
I love Vronsky, but he's also addicted. He's gambling. He's addicted to the romantic, to changing the women. He's my perfect customer. We could help him.
And how you can help Vronsky?
Well, actually, I think that the biggest problem of Vronsky is his mother. He's still under her controlling everywhere person figure. She's everywhere. That's why he's anxious. He's also having anxieties, and he's trying not to feel a lot or to feel overwhelmed. And of course, he's doing the alcohol, he's doing the gambling, he's doing the riding of the horse. And at the end of the book, he will go to to the war.
He will go to the war because of the Anna, because of her death.
Yeah, but also
Isn't.
why all of this happened to him? Also Anna, why he loved Anna, why he chose a married woman, and Anna was also an addiction.
Yeah, tell me, why isn't Anna your perfect customer? She is also full of anxiety, full of stressful thinking, and addicted to someone who couldn't be her husband.
I think she's another segment, because Vronsky, he's a male a male perfect customer, and I think also Kitty could be Anna, Kitty, Dolly. They are all perfect for нежный space.
Perfect fit, yeah.
They should be the users. Actually, I have never thought about it.
No, you know, if they will be mentally healthy, isn't.
I think that if they were mentally healthy, it would be so dull. I wouldn't be reading it for sure.
Yeah, healthy mental health means something like without great ups and downs, without screams or extreme addiction and love. And I believe that Leo Tolstoy said that all families happily in the same way, but not happy in extreme different ways.
Yes, exactly. I think that's the start of the novel of Anna Karenina.
Isn't it like from your side, like psychological abnormality of very intelligent people who trapped in quite complete circumstances, isn't?
Well, yeah, sometimes it's the problem of intelligent and smart people, but I also think that mentally people struggle no matter the IQ.
How smart you are, your anxiety will find you and kill you.
Well, but of course, the smarter you are, the more anxious you are, of course, and
really?
the unhappier you are. Yeah.
Please share about it.
Because you think more about a lot of stuff. It's also about, for example, this podcast. People who are not, let's say, very, I can't even say intelligent, but they're just normal, ordinary people from somewhere, I don't know, from Siberia, from the village. He or she is doing the job at the manufacturing or production plant, or doing some, I don't know, agriculture, the normal agriculture, not the agri-tech, of course, not the innovation in agriculture. They don't think about ethical or unethical. If I do like this, is it conscious? If I do something in this way, will it insult the people? So I mean, people who are intelligent in terms of the intelligence, and for example, they have some emotional intelligence, they are more anxious just because they have more things to think about in 1 second.
So we've been talking about the smart people in novel of Leo Tolstoy and young generation, and you think that basically new generation are okay, they just more aware of different sides of this mental illness. I would like to ask you about psychology as the global movement. It started in the middle of the last century, and it will be almost a century that it's developed. And how do you think, if we talk about generational trauma, because you mentioned that even alpha generation people, they are having the parents who mistreated them well, who have in a different way unhealthy relationship with their children. How do you think, is psychology getting this problem any lower? I mean, the number of generation trauma, is it affect that, or we will facing the same level of the trauma as our ancestors had?
Well, if we talk about ancestors that lived in the cave, they didn't have that much anxiety level and mental health problems. Let's say they were
if you're being
healthy.
not eaten, not beaten, you're happy, yeah.
But also they could tackle their anxiety by running for the mammoth. And they had to be more, tough and mentally healthier. If we talk about the generational trauma, I would say our parents, our grandparents, and as we can see from the Leo Tolstoy, people from the 19th century, 18th century, I think it's more about the developing society. Because I think when it was the Middle Ages and people just died because of the plague or something like that, of course they had this problem. Of course, I mean, we can see a lot of kings and queens that were like the tyrants. They were crazy. I guess that that's because they had some problem with their parents. Even if we say about Ivan the Terrible, for example, he's like that because this is the extreme level of his internal, let's say, anxiety. Of course, it's not anxiety, but we can say something more, of course, as a psychologist or even the clinical or medical psychologists, I'm sure they have something more to say about his. But let's say we call today everything anxiety. Of course, he was super anxious, he was worried, he was scared because his mother was killed, his father died, and he wasn't growing up in a very comfortable circumstances for the kid to grow, and a lot was expected of him. So coming back to the generation Alpha and the next generations, I think it's going to be maybe not worse, but I hope that psychology will get more and more, normalized, because now it's, let's say, popular, but still not normalized. It's just, I don't know, 1% of people who are okay to go to psychologist, to use the service as a Nezhna space, for example, because other people, I know those people. A woman comes to her friend and says, you know what? I went to psychologist, but don't tell anyone, because people are still scared. They're still ashamed that someone will think they are crazy because they go to psychologist. So I guess psychology does something good for society and for some sociological trends, but we still have a lot of things to do. A lot of work.
How do you think in United States are counseling something that is more convenient rather than Europe, and is there not so much stigmatized to confide to someone else rather than friend and family?
I think in the United States, psychotherapy or counseling is more expensive, but at the same time, the United States, they has the bigger middle class that can afford that, and at some point, they had a bigger period of time to normalize going to the therapist. And I think in terms of society and in terms of evolution of psychotherapy, psychology, counseling, it's important. And I also believe that's why now Stanford or Harvard in the 20th century, they became the pioneers of the social psychology, especially Stanford, with all those experiments and stuff like that. I believe that just people there are more used to go to psychologist. Maybe they saw how their parents go to psychologist, and so in the United States, it's more popular in the middle class and among people who can afford it. That's also important. Also in Europe, it's not very affordable, and also not, I think, even in Russia. And that's why our service is built like that. It's cheaper than one counseling session per month.
Regarding problems in psychotherapy, isn't it look like therapists have to deal between balance of having it, treating it like a business, accrue more customer, having longer lifetime value, rather than saying, hey, I feel that it's not working out for you, let's stop, maybe you can find another therapist or you will try another method or things like that. How the therapist can balance, and what's the problem with this balance if it exists from your side?
Actually, I don't see the problem in the balance if the therapist or counselor is a real professional, because the real professionals, it's really difficult to get this counseling session with a good professional, because they are all marketed with the word of mouth. They always have a very, very long queue to get to the session. And I don't know, it's just normalized in the field among psychologists that if I can't deal with this problem, of course, I will redirect somewhere. And also, if a person comes to me with anxiety, which is organic, maybe if he's depressed, of course, I will tell him, I'm sorry, I can't help here without a doctor. We can stay in the counseling, but you need to see a doctor first.
And how do you think about the methods of the modern psychology? It seems like psychotherapy, as Freud invented it, and psychoanalysis, it took years to get some results. And modern approaches like cognitive behavior approach, shame therapy, or internal family therapy can treat some problems much faster. What methods do you consider are most efficient? What methods you approve? And how do you see the evolution of the methods and psychotherapy?
I think what Freud did, I don't know, it's just a masterpiece, actually. I mean, back then, it's just something that was a breakthrough for the field. And of course, now we have more scientific method. We had more research methods. We had opportunity to see, for example, now, I think last year, we had a research that in the long-term way, for example, Gestalt or family therapy or body-oriented therapy, they are more efficient than CBT. So, I mean, the cognitive behavioral therapy. Because before it was believed that only CBT is scientific based and only them have the long-term effect and stuff like that. But now we can say after a long period of time, but it took years to research. It took years to explore. It took years to see people, to oversee them. I prefer the integrated method. It means that I can use techniques and practices from all kinds of working practices, of the best practices, and use it in my therapy. And this is how the Nежная space works as well. Because we don't say, okay, we're only CBT based. No, we're not only CBT based. Because CBT helps with, I don't know, to do some diary, to explore what are my needs, what are my thoughts, what are my emotions in the moment. But then I can deal with those emotions with Gestalt, or I can deal with the reaction or with the behavior pattern. First of all, understanding why I have it. Maybe it's my generational trauma, or maybe it's my family pattern. And only then, after family approach, I can say, okay, now I'm coming back to CBT and I'm changing my behavior on a day-to-day basis. So I think it's not linear process again. It can start with one approach, then go to another one, and then come back to something else. So it's always a way of creativity. Yeah, for sure. It should be a creative process.
And you, as a founder, you know how hard is this path based on your own experience. And not all of the founders in the startup industry are aware of the psychotherapy, of the methods. And if some of the founders who are in a deep struggling with their startup, I've seen many, and I work with many of them who realize that when you growth, especially a venture world, ask from the startup to grow 3 times a year on revenue at least. And some of my clients' growth had experienced a 10 times revenue growth a year. And unfortunately, I was not prepared that it led to so many mental illness. Some of them even were hospitalized. So what are your vision and advice for those who are extremely overwhelmed and still found some time to watch our video? How to treat themselves, and what are the extra tools that they can use for treating themselves during this period of being founder with extremely overwhelming responsibility, uncertainty? It's all hard.
I think it's important to change the thought in your head, the stereotype that I have to work harder and harder and harder, and my business is the priority number one. Even if I put more effort, if I put more work into the startup, it will grow. And I think the priority number one should be the energy of the founder. And then priority number 2, the revenues. I mean, I was there. I was there for sure. I used to put all my efforts, all my time, not caring about myself, doing all it mattered, all it takes into growing my startup, into doing the research, into creating the product. And then myself finished. It was the end of story. And without me, it happened to be that startup will never grow, because I started to hate my startup. I started to hate my business. I didn't want to deal with the customers. And I had to take 4 months break, 4 months, just to feel better and to learn to love myself again and to love my product again.
Many founders would say, hey, if I will stop working on my startup for 4 months, it will just literally die and there was nothing to come back to.
Mine didn't. Mine didn't. I understand that 4 months for some startups means death. So first of all, the priority is your energy and then the startup. So that you don't have to take those 4 months break.
And how did you recover during these 4 months? Just watched Netflix and ordered any food you want?
No, actually, for me, it's not a real, taking care of myself. I had a lot of time outside in the nature because it works for me. I had a lot of guests at my place. My friends were coming to visit me from different cities. It was really nice. So I had, I think, 3 or 4 friends of mine. They were coming to stay with me for a week or less. Also, I went to St. Petersburg to see my friend. I spent a lot of time alone, which was important for me. I didn't neglect Nyazhna. I didn't do any technical work. I didn't put any investments. I didn't create any new features. But we did some events with our partners. But it wasn't, I want to do this. I wasn't, business developing. It was invitations from other sides. So if they were coming, it's like, we invite you to be with us in collaboration to do the project for the students. Let's do this. And then we also did some other partnerships. So it was good. It was, I think, almost every week, but just one event. So it was okay. So my startup didn't die, and I felt finally, after all of that, I finally feel revived. I feel alive, and my national space also is back on track.
If you return back to beginning of your sabbatical, how you figured out those 4 months? Was it planned, or said, hey, I will give myself as much time as I need, and whenever I feel ready, I come back? Or it was, we have money for 4 months or 6 months for paying salary for my team? How it worked? How you figure it out?
I started with 1 month, and I let myself be free in terms of not just 1 month and you're coming back. No, 1 month and we check up. Okay, another one. Okay, now how it feels. Okay, close, but not enough. Okay, one more month. And then, I understood on the 3rd month that 1 month more and that's it. That's enough.
And if it would be 1 year, would you had enough money for cover the team needs?
I think maybe not so much, but I felt that I didn't need a year. Because I think if I needed a year, I would change something in my business. Maybe I would sell the startup, or maybe I would just close that. Because if it's about a year sabbatical, it's just in my own terms. It's too much.
So when you came back, what is your most inspiring plan that you have for your business? What is making your heart beating?
Now I'm extremely curious about exploring more and more B2B clients. Yeah, and we have some invitations already from them. So I'm, I feel, very like a little girl before her birthday.
So my final question would be, can you recommend to other founders like you some book or a podcast that helped to relieve mental health?
I didn't do any mental health podcasts. I did a lot of books or novels, something like Anna Karenina or by Tolstoy, and I decided just to enjoy the book, not care about the plot, enjoy the beauty of the language, enjoy the beauty of everything that he's putting inside the pictures, the background, I don't know, sometimes the costumes, horses, kids, everything, the emotions inside. But it was for me. It works just because I like the literature in this, not for the plots, but for the beauty of the language.
Oh, that's quite an interesting thing, is not to focus on some psychological books about dealing with anxiety, rather to get any favorite novel and just enjoy it.
Yeah, just make yourself feel happy. That's it. Don't worry about your anxiety. Make you feel happy.
Thank you so much for our conversation and for your time. I wish you well with your anxiety and with your startup.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation. It was a pleasure.